As a hand came out of the window and pulled the lever in, before she had time to close, she was surprised by the figure of the kuntilanak again, right in front of her face through the window, and laughed. As she screamed as loudly as possible. There was a commotion from outside the house. Asi woke up because of the noise. She was on the bed alone. It turns out that Desi is no longer in her place. Asi went outside to find the source of the sound. It turned out that in the yard there were already many people talking. Coincidentally, her mother was also there. That morning, residents were shaken by the appearance of the pocong that had haunted people who passed the road in front of the Asi family house. Increasingly confident with the condition of the family resident, finally Asi gave advice to her mother to hold a recitation at the house tomorrow. The mother looks at Asi strangely. Why did her daughter ask for a recitation at home? Then Asi explained at length about what she had experienced the night before. Her mother still doesn't believe it, but she still convinced her to agree to hold recitation in the house. Finally, after consulting with all the residents at home, the recitation will be held tomorrow night. The night of the recitation began. One by one of the closest neighbors began to fill the house. Recitation starts. The goal is to avoid being disturbed by supernatural disturbance. After the recitation ended for a day or two, there was no disturbance at all. But in vain, the third and subsequent days, the disturbance get worse. At the time, Asi was lying in the room alone playing phone. Desi and the others were relaxing in the living room. Playing phone while laying made her eyes still faint. She fell asleep. Then she dreamed of being spit on by an old woman. The dream felt real. When he woke up to check around her body, nothing was wet. Turned out it was just a dream. She saw Desi already asleep beside her. There was a knock on Asi's bedroom door. She asked who was knocking on the door, but there was no answer. The second time the door was knocked again. Asi got off the bed. She wanted to open the bedroom door. While opening the door, Asi turned again to ask the figure behind the door who she was. But no one was found. Only the darkness of the room. Asi looked left and right. There was no one. Only the gamelan in the living room she could see. As she turned and walked toward her bed, a figure behind her called her out. Asi paused for a moment, trying to calm down. When she turned around, she saw the figure of an unknown old woman. This is the first time she ever saw her. Again, Asi asked who she was. The old woman didn't answer. Then she pointed and invited Asi to follow her to the north. It made her hypnotized according to what the old woman said. Asi was silent for a moment, then walked closer. She followed her out through the back door. After a few steps, she left her house. She saw the gate in front of her with a tomb written on it. Fortunately, when Asi walked through the dark night, several residents were patrolling and seeing her follow her. Feeling strange, a woman walked alone to the tomb. One of the residents asked her from behind where she was going. No answer from Asi. The resident immediately chased after her and called her loudly, making Asi startle and come back to her sense. Asi, who was confused because she was standing in front of a tomb, then asked the residents who were following her why is she there. Residents were even surprised and asked where is she going. Asi said she didn't know either. She explained that she was walking with a grandmother but suddenly ended up at the tomb. Residents who were confused by Asi's explanation escorted her to her home. On the way, Asi explained everything to them. When she got home, the relatives were already waiting for Asi. Barrage of questions came out of the mouth of her parents. Asi, who had calmed down with what had happened, finally told them everything. Her grandpa, grandma, and auntie were also waiting for her explanation. After everything was told, they finally asked Asi to perform ablution and night prayers. Still in a crowded state in Asi's house. Time passed and crowded atmosphere calmed down. A moment later, Asi was with her grandfather, grandmother, and auntie. They were in the living room. to be precise, the room with the gamelan. Suddenly, while they are chatting, there was the sound of a woman singing in Japanese style with the sound of gamelan and the scent of jasmine flower in the living room. Asi, who was there, was shocked, and not only her, others also hear it. The voice is soft but clear, very clear. Asi and her sister Desi is terrified. At that moment, Grandma, who was close to the Quran, took it and read it. Asi and Desi is in the arms of her grandma and auntie. Meanwhile, her grandfather and brother read their prayers as best as they could. The louder the sound is accompanied by the chanting of the Holy Quran. Asi and her sister are terrified that they feel weak. Suddenly, Asi fainted. She woke up to the sound of the call to prayers at dawn with the Quran above her head. That night was a very scary night for Asi. The next night, when Grandma rested in the Asi room, Grandma woke up because she felt like she being spit on and leg getting pulled. When she woke up and looked around her, she found nothing was wet, but there was a few scratches on her feet. Not only that, Asi auntie also experienced the same thing, getting spit and her feet pulled. The longer the disturbance, the more overwhelmed the whole house became. One night, Asi just got home from work. When she was about to park her vehicle, again she felt something unusual. She smelled a very smelly odor, making Asi cover her nose. As she walked in and closed the door, suddenly the door was knocked 3 times but with a different sound and rhythm, not like a knock on the door in general. The unknown voice was low and seemed to be knocking the door using his head, accompanied by a strong stench. Asi then realized that this was definitely not human. She tried to see through the gap in the wooden window that was right to the next door. There was no one outside. Then the sun came back again. Again she looked through the gap in the window. The figure of a Pochon was floating with his head turned upside down and looking straight at Asi. She screamed loudly and running scared. She went into her parents' room but it was empty. Then she ran to another room but no one was there. Suddenly, as she passed the living room, she sees that the living room was very crowded, as if there was a spectacle. The sound of a gamelan, people singing and people cheering. She couldn't recognize who was all of them are because they were facing other direction. Asi stood up silently watching extraordinary sight. Suddenly the sound of gamelan, singing and cheers stopped. All of the beings who were there turned and looked at Asi that standing still. The mysterious crowd was full of blood, some with broken face, some are headless, while others floating. All of them looked at her dead in the eye. Suddenly everything went dark. Asi passed out.